Hello and welcome to the weekly vmcampos Comic Book Club. I'm your host, vmcampos. This is the series where I review a comic book, new or old, from my collection and rate it on the factors of the cover art, interior art, plot, and enjoyability of the book on a scale of 1 to 5. This week I'm reviewing FemForce Special Number 1, published in 1984 by AC, Americomics. Don't forget to check the description for chapter stops. So let's get started. Alright, so as usual, a little bit of background information. This is the first appearance of the collective team of the FemForce, which stands for something or other. We'll see it in the book later on. And so this is a black and white explosion type of a comic. Or actually, I guess it predates the black and white explosion a little bit. This is from 1984, so I guess 86 is the black and white explosion traditionally. And this is a black and white comic, sort of independently published by Americomics. Americomics had various names throughout the 60s and the 70s, and then they eventually became AC in the 80s. And they're still around. They're still publishing FemForce nowadays, although very infrequently. In the beginning, they were on a bi-monthly schedule. I think they did manage to do a monthly schedule for a while, and then they kind of really fell to like quarterly. I think officially quarterly is their current publishing schedule. And we're seeing this as an issue in black and white, but the main series actually went on to color for a while, and then black and white for a little while, and back to color. They publish other books like Black Diamond besides FemForce, although whenever I think of AC, I always just think of FemForce, especially in my dreams, and the other comics that they publish here and there are also very eye-catching to various degrees, like FemForce. And so the name behind it all is basically Bill Black. So Bill Black is the genius behind the idea of putting sexy ladies in adventures. So here's some examples of some of the other titles, such as the Sexy Lady Black Diamond, the Sexy Lady Colt, the Sexy Lady Night Veil, the Sexy Lady Dragonfly, and the rest. And that is a little bit of background information on this, the first appearance of the FemForce team. Let's look at the cover art. So this is actually a wraparound cover. Wow, we get the full power of it here if we fully open it up. So I have to say this is a kind of an awkward cover. The posing, Lady Luger, looks a bit awkward. I know she's trying to look intimidating, I suppose. We've got Night Veil, or actually the Blue Bulleteer, and Miss Victory coming at her. On the back cover, we've got Night Cat and Rio Rita, and then another shot of Miss Victory there. So I'm not sure why we have another sort of like splash pose on the back, even though the character is here, so that's a bit awkward. I like the patriotic iconography, however, the red, white, and blue versus the mean old Nazis. And the cover art is interesting, but this is all FemForce version 1.0, and the characters will evolve throughout the decades, literally the decades, and get just more refined. Not to throw too much shade, but I kind of like the FemForce issue number 1 a little bit more, because you've got them battling a freaking dinosaur on the cover. Amazing. But I'll give the cover a 4 out of 5. Interior art. Alright, so as I said, everything's all black and white, and as I said, you kind of feel the sort of 1.0 of it all. The beginning efforts of this creative team, where there are many very good panels, and then other panels are a little bit more sort of sketchy or quick. And yeah, you're going to find a lot of cheesecake, a lot of cheeky art throughout the whole book, and that's what you sign up for when you get a FemForce comic. Lots of action, lots of ladies, lots of panels, and it works because this series has been around since 1984 and is still publishing in 2024. You really see a pastiche of things. Classic good girl art of the 40s and the 50s, but then in the milieu of the 80s. So when this was new, it was referencing something old, but now in 2024, I'm referencing something old that is referencing something even older, such as classic bondage art the trope of the female Nazi, like Ilse She-Wolf of the SS. Remember that classic movie? It's very enjoyable interior art. It does range, like I said, but there are some panels that are very enjoyable, drawn very well. Like just even the subtle shading on those bangs is nice. Here we have the bulleteer appearing dramatically at a fundraiser, and that's a lot of cash in that panel. The classic front and back shot that we see in this type of comic book. Yeah, the interior art is very enjoyable. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Now, this is a 52-page comic, so there's a lot of art to enjoy. And overall, it's very, very good, so 5 out of 5. Here and there, it does kind of fall short. Like, these shadows are a little bit too shadowy, and that's always hard to do. I know we're trying to do something very dramatic, some underlighting, I suppose, but shadows can be very hard, especially on faces. And this character over here definitely looks like one of these stiff characters, one of these stiff scientists that would come out from the early Action Comics, Detective Comics. There's always something interesting to look at in the interior of this book. Even these sort of house ads. Is a t-shirt I would proudly wear to church. If we jump back to see the credits, the creative team, we see that this is brought to you by Mark Heike Penciler and writer and inker Bill Black with letterer Walter Paisley. So Heike is the penciler and Black is the inker. That makes sense. Black ink for this comic. Plot. So writer is Bill Black. Now, this is a very enjoyable introduction. There's basically no origin to the FemForce, really, except for a text piece here and there. We'll find it in a moment, but here it is. So this is basically the text origin of FemForce, but we will not really see it visually until a future issue. And this is full of several chapters of a huge plot that is this intricate story of Nazis coming to take over the U.S. This is happening during World War II time. So FemForce has an aspect of it that they've been around since the 40s, you know, the super soldier program and all of that trope. So they're around in the 40s for these first stories. And then they also then come to the present time of the 80s in future issues, and then I guess in the modern times. And we jump to different points all over the world to battle the Nazi scourge, culminating in a battle in the U.S. on the final story. So I believe it's 5 stories. Yeah, here we go, 6 stories. So Liberty's Last Stand. So it's a globe-trotting adventure all over the world, in Europe, in the U.S., in South America, with action nonstop, fun art all the way, just epic battles with consequences, crosses, double crosses, triple crosses, punches that would feel right at home in a vintage Golden Age comic. So, plot-wise, is another 5 out of 5 because you just get so much bang for your buck. Now, this was $2 in 1984. I'll put the conversion into 2024 dollars right on screen here. Wow, that was expensive. Anyway, $2 back at that time, and it was 52 pages. You get non-stop rollicking action with the ladies of the FemForce. You get lots of titillation, mad scientists, Nazis, punching, slapping, kicking, and battles to the death nonstop. What more could you want in your plot? And lastly, the enjoyability of the book. Usually I like to talk about the ancillary material also for the enjoyability. So what do we have? We have these various house ads. How about, wow, Blue Bulleteer t-shirt. So you can get the Blue Bulleteer on a t-shirt from Imagine If. And as I showed on that other page, there's an even more impressive Ms. Victory t-shirt. Whoops, there was a bit of a glitch right there. My camera ran out of juice, so I had to take 5 to recharge it. So if there was a little bit of a jump there, sorry about that. If you didn't notice it, I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway, I was saying about enjoyable things. It's a really cool Miss Victory t-shirt. I would gladly wear it nowadays. Here's an ad for Black Diamond where we have special guest star Sybil Danning. Amazing. And Black Diamond's an interesting one. I should review that one as well sometime. As I said, there's also some cool buttons for the various AC character properties. $1 each or 3 for $2. I know which 3 I'm getting. We got a house ad for Star Force Special. I don't know anything about Star Force 6. Do you? Tell me in the comments. That's not really a comic that I know about, but you can tell me if you read the Star Force comics from AC back in the day. At the back of the book, we've also got Sentinels of Justice, and here are more characters that I don't really know. Oh, I forgot to say, well, FemForce, one of their big draws is that they are public domain characters. In the 80s, they were public domain, Blue Bulleteer and Ms. Victory and so forth from the 40s. So by the 80s, Black and Company could take them into new adventures. So I think the Sentinels of Justice are similar to that. Maybe, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And there's Night Veil, which is an incarnation of Blue Bulleteer, something like that. There's a transformation of her in one of these issues or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's a pretty cool cover there. And I might have 1 or 2 issues of Night Veil floating around in my collection. At the back, again, it's the back cover, which is the full wraparound cover. So, pretty enjoyable comic overall. Also, a 5 out of 5. And so that was my review for FemForce Special number 1, published in 1984 by AC. And I'd like to hear from you. Did you ever read any FemForce comics back in the day? Did you have to keep them hidden under the bed? Did you follow them through their monthly and bi-monthly and quarterly adventures? Do you still check out FemForce nowadays? They've gone over 200 issues since they first debuted in the mid-80s. And again, it's fascinating that these are public domain characters that were made a little bit sexier for the 80s and the 90s and beyond. And as we saw through the review, there's a lot of good about this issue. Some really nice drawings here and there, interesting panel layout, and it's just full of action and nice things to look at. As well as Nazi punching, because yeah, fuck Nazis. And why not have a powerful female team beating them up at every chance they get? That's what the allure of FemForce is. Pretty ladies getting the job done. So this has been the weekly VM Campos Comic Book Club, and I'll see you next week.